Hello. Hope you're doing well. I know this is kind of impromptu. Looks like we only got one person here so far, but I just set this up like 15 minutes ago, so I understand. Anyway, I've got, if you guys have seen or haven't seen, I've got uh, from my last video where I was throwing large pieces. I was using that hair dryer to dry the pieces, which actually it actually does work. I think I had to rush it a little bit, or at least I felt like I had to because of doing the live stream. And so a couple days later, I went out and actually bought a torch to use to make my larger pieces. And as you can see, I didn't do this one on a video or on a live stream, but I think it was just a couple days ago I made that with the torch. So that was, I think, about 70 pounds of clay in that one. So that's by far the largest piece I've made so far in a sectional. And I think it's about, I think when it finished, it was about 40 inches tall, somewhere 40 or 41 inches tall. So pretty big piece, especially if you can see when I get close to it, you can see how the size and the mass of it. So I'm going to be firing a wood kiln with Joseph Sand here in just a couple weeks. So and to be honest, the two pieces I made on live stream last time, I was not pleased with at all. And like I said, I know now that it's mainly because I didn't take my time drying the bottom sections as much as I should before adding, more on the top. So, that caused the problem, caused some of the wobbling and warping in the bottom. And so I got the torch now, and so I just thought, hey, I'm going to make a large piece today anyways, and so I just thought I would go ahead and do a live stream, and you guys can see the difference, and hopefully this one turns out better than those other two. I know some people, it wouldn't matter. They think those are great. I just see the imperfections in them, and that kind of bothers me. Can you guys hear me okay? I realized I had my Bluetooth speaker on still, and hopefully it wasn't picking up or keeping the audio from coming through. So anyway, all right, thank you. Anyway, so we're going to get started. I'm going to make, probably try to make a large jar today out of, 50 or 60 pounds. So that's what we're going to work on. And I'm going to be using the torch to dry the bottom sections. So I don't know that it'll be quicker, but it'll definitely be easier on me. I can dry the piece more effectively and more evenly, and I can also dry the sections that I'm going to add on, which is what I did with this one. This one I actually started out with 20 pounds in the bottom instead of 15, but that's kind of how it ended up so large, is because the shape that I started with wasn't as wide as that I thought it was going to be, and then I put 15 pounds on top of the 20, so I think by the time I had the 35 pounds done, I was already up to here. And I was stepping back looking at the shape, and I realized that I was going to have to keep going kind of up before I came back in with the shape to get what I wanted there. So anyway, we're going to start. I've already got all the clay pugged out. I'm going to be using the same mixture that I used last time, the new Seagrove and new Catawba, and we're going to be making those into a large jar. So we'll turn around here and get started. And I'm not sure who it was last time that commented and recommended that maybe I sand these bats before I use them. I actually did try that, and it worked out great on that one that I threw there. So when I get this on the wheel and get it cleaned off, I'm actually gonna use some sandpaper on it a little bit, and it actually smoothed out a lot of that grain. So whoever that was that commented that, thank you very much. It definitely helped. So I'm going to be using like a silicon carbide sandpaper that I have. This is just I use some belts to clean off pots, and I'm just going to be using this because you can use it wet or dry, and just spinning the wheel and holding it on there. And I realized on that last one, it really helps smooth out a bunch of that grain that was causing problems when I would try to center. So we'll do it like that, and it definitely helps out. So this one we're going to start with 15 on the bottom like I did the ones the other day. And then maybe when we're done with this one, if it goes quick enough, I might try to make a smaller piece, but make something that's really wide and bulbous using the torch. We'll see how much time we have and how long this takes. Plus, you guys won't have to listen to the annoying hairdryer for minutes on end. I can pull you guys closer for this if you want to. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well today. It's a beautiful day here in North Carolina. It's going to be like 75 or 76 degrees today. And nice sunny day. Nice to see the sunshine again. We've had a lot of rain this year here. All right, so there's the first 5 pounds. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen, which you probably have, but if you haven't seen before, I actually did a section of one of my videos where I talked about centering larger clay balls in smaller sections like this. It's definitely something I've learned that is a whole lot easier on your body, and it takes a lot less strength than just throwing a big, 15 or 20 or 25 pounds on the wheel at one time. Because that bottom section's already centered, and by throwing that 5 on top, I didn't really knock the bottom off center. So really all I have to worry about is centering that top 5 pounds that I put on top. And you can do that by coning up or just pushing down into it. I found that pushing down into it's actually a little easier. As soon as you cone it up, you got to worry about pushing all that clay back down. So that's one of the reasons that I don't cone up as much when I'm centering clay. A lot of people do, and hey, it's fine. Whatever works for you is great. All right, so there's our 15 pounds centered. And now we're going to start with opening that up. Now, it's the same with the other ones. I'm going to actually go down all the way down to the back in the very center. Leave a kind of opening that's about that big around, about 2 inches or so. And I leave that hole in the bottom in case people are going to use these pots outside. Then if any water gets inside, it will drain. If you live in a climate where it freezes at all, then you get water inside of a pot and then it freezes, you'll definitely lose it. It'll crack. One thing I've learned doing these larger pieces is if you're gonna, when you first start pulling like anywhere from 15 to 20 or more pounds, I found that on the outside, instead of using my knuckle to dig in and pull up like I normally would like this, I actually use the kind of the heel of my hand here, and I kind of pull with my fingertips on the inside and use my hand on the outside. Kind of gives more surface area to pull with, and it really helps out getting some of that clay out of the bottom on a large piece like this. So I'm going to do that one more time here to kind of push in at the bottom, and then I'll switch over to my regular way of pulling. I'm going to try to get the top of this out to about anywhere from 16 to 18 inches wide. I'm starting to learn a little bit more too about how wide I need to kind of get the base, whether it's 15 or 20 pounds, how wide that needs to be to get a shape that I'm looking for. Kind of gradually learning that as I make more and more of these. Need to find my ruler. I can't remember where I put it. Got it. All right, so as of right now, I've only got about 14, so I'm definitely going to go out a little wider than this. And I'm going to go ahead and make the foot on the bottom. Looks like that's probably about good right there. So we're at, that's almost 16. And we can adjust this a little bit, even though I'm going to torch it. I don't torch it so that it's like completely dry. You know, I leave it so that I can still mold it, but you have to push pretty hard to get it to move. That's a good thing too, because then you've got a lot of strength and stability to it. So let's see, we're at like 15 7/8, but I'm going to go ahead and torch this, and then I'm going to measure it after I torch it before we make the next section. Just to see if it shrinks in at all, then we'll know that for making the next section as well. Go ahead and move my water bucket. and get you guys back over this way. So the torch that I bought is hold on, let me see this comment. Sorry. Yeah, competing against wholesale prices, that's tough. I don't have a formula. I can't tell you pricing these. That's I'd rather make pots all day long and never have to price another pot in my life. That would be amazing. One of the things I hate doing is pricing my pots. I just have to kind of see what the market, what other people make them for, also what time I have in it, but also I also look at the fact that, you know, how well they look compared to other people's larger pieces. And I know that's all subjective, but you know, there's just not that much of a market, or not that many people out there that make really large pieces. So pricing them is a little difficult because you never really know what somebody's willing to pay. Of course, I mean, what it's worth is what somebody's willing to pay. So that's that's all subjective, like I said. But anyway, the burner that I bought is actually just a weed burner from Lowe's, and it works pretty well. So like I said, I made that large one over there earlier. If you didn't see it, let's see. Can I flip the camera around for a second? There's the large one that I made the other day. Like I said, about 70 pounds or so in that one, with the burner as far as the torch to dry it out. So not only is this quieter than the hairdryer, it's a lot more cool. You get the cool factor of using a torch on a pot. You guys can probably see too, once it really starts to heat up, you get some steam coming off the clay. You know you're evaporating some of that water by doing this. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I probably should have done it beforehand, but it's okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and take the splash pan off because I won't need it anymore now that I'm not actually throwing a piece on this wheel that's going to be wet. That just gets it out of my way. Also, I don't risk torching it. That'd be a bad thing. It's a little hot, but I saw that the shape was a little bit off from what I wanted, so step back in here and adjust that just a little bit before I measure and make the next section. All right, so there we go, got that the way I want it. Now we're going to measure this again. And we got about 15 3/4. So it did shrink up a little bit from that torch, which is good. That's something I thought of when I made the first one with the torch, is to go ahead and dry it and then measure it again so that I get a good fit for my next section that I'm going to make. And what I'll do is, this might not be as dry as I want it, but I don't want to push it too much. So I'm going to go ahead and make the next section. And then after I get it made, I'm going to torch it a little bit and then come back over and feel this and see how dry it is. And then I may need to torch this again, but I can always torch it a little more, but you can't re-wet it. So I'd rather do it a little bit less than I need it and then torch it some more before I join the two pieces than to do too much. So we'll move the camera over here and we'll make the next section. 15 3/4. All right, we're going to be right over here. We'll raise the camera up so you guys can see a little better. There we go. All right, we're getting 10 pounds for this section. Take that bat off. I'm actually going to go ahead and use my really large bat because I got I want the shape that I'm going to make on this wheel to go in like this, to be at 15 3/4 on the top, but then when I flip it over, it's going to continue that shape that I've started with the bottom section there. So we want to do that. This has got some dry slip on it from the last time I used it. Clean that off so it'll sit more level. Put some fresh slip on the wheel head to help stick this down while I'm throwing. Might need to pop out one of those circles so I can see where the bat pins are. Yeah, the most difficult part about doing this with this large of a bat is that I don't have the splash pan to brace my arms on. So centering and throwing with this large bat, that's really the biggest challenge to using this. But the thing that I need to be able to do is I need to be able to make the ring wide to match the size that I have there. Somebody commented on the last video that if I made it so that it was smaller here and came out to there and then pull it out, but that actually makes it weak when I go to turn that over, because if it starts out small and gets bigger, you flip that over, the top of that has a tendency to wobble. Of course, I'm going to be torching this a little bit, but still, I'd rather have it close to the size that I'm going to want it when I put it on there than have to adjust it a whole lot. check comments real quick before we do this, just to see if anybody else said anything that I missed. Nope. All right. Like I said, so what we're doing here is we've got 5 pounds. I'm going to add another 5 on top of that. The only thing I do with this, with the large bat, is I try to keep the outside cleaned off so that I'm not throwing clay and water everywhere and not getting myself and my whole studio dirty. All right, so now we're gonna throw the other 5 on top of this to make a 10-pound section. I hope y'all are having a good day. If you just got here, welcome. I'm making somewhere around a 50-pound piece. Hey Valerie, I'm using a clay body that I took 2 clays that are mixed by that are made by Starworks Ceramics here in Star, North Carolina. It's called New Catawba and New Seagrove, the 2 different clays, and I mixed those 2 together, blended them in my v.2 pug mill, and they both are high temperature clays, but one of them's a lot darker than the other, finished out in a wood-fired salt kiln. So I wanted a little bit. The darker one has really good throwing properties, and the lighter one has really good properties as far as the way it looks in salt. So I blend the 2 together, and I get a little bit lighter clay body that still throws well, and also looks good in salt. So I just did a 50-50 blend of each of them. And I'm getting dirty. Sling and slip on myself. All right, so one of the things that I do here, if you've ever tried to throw anything really wide that doesn't have a bottom in it, it can be very difficult, especially if you start out with a normal size clay ball and then push down in the center and then just try to stretch that ring out and out. That ring really gets off. So I realized that the best way to do this, to make a ring that's really wide without having a bottom, is to actually kind of make it like I would a raised lid, where I flatten the clay out kind of about the width that I want it, and then go down in the center, and I'm going to pull it out a little bit, and then I'm going to start pushing up underneath the clay with my right hand, and then my left hand is going to be pulling. So I'm kind of like doing this motion right here, one hand underneath on the inside, and the other one kind of supporting the rim and pulling back towards me, and I kind of raise that clay up. Like I said, not leaving any clay on the bat. Just have to make sure you have plenty of water in here so that your hands don't stick on the inside. You see, I stop often to clean off my hand on the inside because it collects a little bit of clay, and to add water. All right, there we go. And now what we'll do is we'll kind of pull this top out a little bit more, and then kind of pull it up like a regular wall of a pot out here. All right, and we want 15 3/4 based on the size of what we measured over there, so I'm going to go ahead and check. It's only about 14 3/4 right now, but that's getting close. Because by the time I pull this a 1/2 inch wider, that's it, because 1/2 inch on each side gets you the extra inch in width. So, and I want to pull this a little bit taller before we get that extra width also. Get some more of that clay evened out through this whole wall. All right, we probably gained some width right there just by pulling that like that. Hopefully not too much, but we'll see here what we have. We have 15 inches, so it wasn't much at all. So now I'm gonna take my rib and clean off around the bottom on the inside and the outside. Clean up a little bit of the extra clay that's there. I'm gonna dry off the bat on the inside and the outside, and then I'm gonna get my width set here. Okay, there's just a little over 15 3/4, but I'm going to torch this a little bit too, so I don't mind that. So there we go. Got that set. Now I'm going to grab the torch, and I'm going to torch this, and then check the bottom again and see if I need to torch it anymore, and then put the two pieces together. Trying to slow the wheel down a little bit. I thought it was going a little fast. I don't know if I got it at all adjusted, but the main reason I'm torching this piece is so that when I flip it over, it doesn't wobble, doesn't affect the shape of it. I think I'm going to slow that down a little bit by going on the other side with my foot instead of standing on this side. I don't think it's going to hurt it, but it doesn't really need to be going that fast to torch it. Plus I don't want it to throw off the width. Yeah. We're still good there on the width. I definitely don't want to torch this piece as much as I did the bottom, but like I said, I just want to stiffen this up somewhat to match the stiffness of the bottom, but mainly so that as I flip this over, it doesn't warp quite as bad. Helps the two pieces match up better. Keeps this one more true as I flip it over. move you guys over to this side here. Sorry for the adjustment there. Yeah, I think this one could use a little bit more torching on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, yeah, that's good and stiff now. And check my other piece here. Yeah, we're good to go. Alright, let's see. There we go. That's a really good fit. We'll adjust that a little bit before we turn the wheel off. Before I throw it together, I always go around and kind of try to adjust these seams to get them a little bit closer together while I still can. They haven't like fully attached yet. You know, both sections are a little drier. So just by kind of pushing in to match those seams up, or pushing out if I need to. And there we go. Now I've matched up the seams. One of the next things I do is actually I do the rim of it first before I actually start working on that seam. Make sure it's running even so that doesn't throw it off as I start working on that seam. See, what I'm doing now is I'm actually adjusting that bottom section just a little bit to match up with the angle of the top section. Like I said, it's really stiff, but if I push on it really steadily and pretty hard, I can adjust it just a little bit. That will help help kind of that continuous shape that I want from the bottom up to the next section. All right, I'm going to step back and look at that and see if the shape's going the direction I want it to, which I believe it is. So normally what I do is I step back here and I get down low so that I can look at the shape of it. That looks pretty good from what I'm expecting and what I'm wanting. And the good thing with this one compared to the others, where I put the seams together on the inside, you guys can see there's not much of a bump at all. I probably still trim that just a little bit, but I got the thickness of the top of the bottom piece and the next section I put on were really close in thickness, which really helps this process if you can get that done. So I'm going to raise this back up and tilt it down so you guys can see down in there, and I'll trim this one like I've done the other ones. Yeah, I've got a torch this time. Yeah, Blake, it was 50% New Seagrove and 50% Catawba, yep. Yeah, the sections, sorry, I'm going back through the, the comments now. The sections are all going to be probably around a ½ inch thick. That's kind of my goal. And by torching them, I can keep it a ½ inch thick all the way up and not really have to worry about it slumping or sagging. Like I said, I've done it successfully before with the hairdryer, but last time I did it, I was in a rush because of being on the live stream, and it really kind of hurt me in the long run. So anyway, I've wanted and needed to get a torch anyways, so I definitely ended up going and buying one, and it's worked out. So like I said, I've just got a little bit of a bump right in here that I'm going to take off, and that'll be it. Not nearly what I've had on some of my other sections before. So, and also the advantage that I've had by torching this even more is that these when I do trim this out, the trimmings come out so much easier because it's so much drier down in there that I don't have it sticking like I did last time. As long as you don't bump the edge, you're good. I appreciate you guys answering the questions. Yeah, it's in the DNA for sure. We're pyromaniacs. That's people have asked me, why do you want a wood-fired kiln? I'm like, well, I guess it's my inner pyromaniac just wanting to come out. So to me, the standing in front of a 2400 degree fire, and every time you put wood in the kiln, you get to see the pots that are in there. To me, that's just amazing to be that involved in the process of actually firing the pieces, not just making them or throwing them, is pretty amazing. Nothing wrong with firing a gas kiln or an electric kiln. I do both of those as well. But just being able to stand there and actually put wood in the kiln and look in as you're doing it and see the pots that are in there, there's just something special to that. There's also that connection to, you realize that people have been making pottery like that for thousands of years, before they even had, propane gas or electricity to fire pots or to do anything really. They had the ability to fire pots with wood. So all right, just smoothing that over on the inside. Now I've got really a perfect seam in there, inside and out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to torch this section a little bit more, and then we'll make the next 10-pound section and put it on this. Now this one, I'm guessing is probably a good 20 or so inches wide. We'll have to switch over to my measuring tape versus the. Actually, I've got a foot-long yardstick. We'll just use that. Be cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and torch it first, and then we'll measure, just like we did the last one. I probably got a very, very slight wobble right down in the bottom here, but by the time I torch that a little bit more, it's not going to affect the rest of the process. Okay. Like I said before, I'm going to torch that, but I'm not going to overdo it because I can always torch it a little bit more right before we put the next section on. Alright, so here we go. We're going to measure across this one. We got 19 3/4. What did I said 20. I was close. Maybe, let's see, 19 5/8, I would say, more correctly. Yeah, I'll probably need to torch that a little bit more once we before we put the top on, but I'm fine with that right now. So we'll come back over here and make the next section like we did just a minute ago. Check the comments before I start this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Welcome back from New Zealand. 5 a.m. You're crazy. Well, welcome anyways. I'm glad you're here. It's one place I'd love to visit. I have friends that I made years ago that are from New Zealand, and some great people, and I've heard about all the countryside and how beautiful it is, and so definitely one place I'd love to visit. It is, let's see, well, my phone's not showing the time, but I started at 11 and it's been 53 minutes, so it's almost noon. Noon on Saturday, and I'm assuming you're 17 hours ahead of that, I believe is the conversion, right? So it's plus a day minus 5 hours. Or not minus 5, whatever that is, sorry. Bad math, sorry. No, I don't bevel the joint. I just do 2 flat sections. I've never had a problem doing the flat sections. I think if by the time I do a joint like that and then a point on the other one, I've got more of a chance of trapping air in that than I do by just doing the flat. Of course, you could put slip in there, but to me that'll just get messy. Doing the 2 flat joints has always worked for me, and so that's what I'm doing. And it's a possibility that I could get interrupted today. My 2 older kids are in the house. My wife had to go somewhere. So if I have to run in for a few minutes or a minute or two to do something for one of them, I'll definitely let you know that. But I'm right here at the house, but they're inside. They're old enough to kind of take care of themselves, but just giving you a heads up. After I throw this section, I might just run in there and check on them anyways, just to give you guys a heads up. All right, so I have another 10 pounds here that I'm making this section out of. And like I said, again, I'm going to flatten this out and raise it up from the inside. Yeah, I'm going to do somewhere around 50 pounds this time. Yep. Might do a little more. Really, these I'm not set on a certain amount of weight. I'm really set on getting the shape that I want. So for me, it's more about the form and the shape than it is about the amount of weight. If I get it at 40 or 45 or 60, it doesn't really matter to me. All right, so we got to be like 19 5/8 for this one. Right now we've got about 18 1/4. So we can easily get there from here. I'm going to try to clean up around the inside of again, around the base on the inside and the outside. Just to kind of pull away some of that extra clay that way when I flip it over, I don't have to clean that off while it's flipped over. It's already kind of clean around the rim once I cut it off. I think I've got a delivery. I just heard a honk. It's probably UPS. I'll be right back. I was wrong, sorry. But they always honk when they pull up in the driveway when they got a delivery, and it sounded like the truck too, so. All right, there's 19 1/4. All right, there's 19. That's a little too wide actually there, but I can bring that back in. I'm gonna try to leave that spinning. All right, that's about it right there. Now I'm gonna torch this and then check the bottom again like I did before. Yeah, so I think the torch is definitely a little faster at drying. Obviously, it's faster at drying than the hair dryer. But with the hair dryer, of course, I can dry the bottom piece while I'm throwing the second piece. So that slows that part down. So it somewhat evens out. But I wasn't able to effectively dry this piece with the hair dryer like I should have been able to, or should. And so it definitely speeds it up in that sense that I get to dry this one, which keeps it more even. I get to dry the bottom, like I said, more effectively and more dry it more so that it stiffens up so that I can work with it and put the weight on top without it buckling underneath it. All right, now we're going to check this bottom section. I might torch this just a little bit more on top, not much. Double check measurement. It's about 19 and a half now. And my top is 19 and a half, so we're good. Woo-hoo. That's a really good fit right there. I'm really happy with that one. That's like perfect. I barely got a little bit. I got to push out there and right there and maybe in just a touch there, but that's nothing compared to what I had before. And I think most of that comes from torching this top piece. Really helps join them. Really helps keep it steady while I flip it over. All right, so all I'm gonna do is spin this around and adjust any of that I need to. Push out a little bit right there. Push in a little bit right in this area here. And I can tell you the thickness of these two is well matched as well, kind of like the last two. So I don't. May have to do a little trimming, but it won't be much at all. All right, now we're gonna get the top. Make sure it's running true or close, which it already is, which is good. Get some moisture on the very top too, so that as my hand's down inside, a lot of times as I'm working that seam, my arm up here is actually kind of like holding that part steady, and I want to make sure that my arm's not catching on that as far as catching dry or rough pieces of clay that would mess up that. After making them like this, I got a tendency to go delete that other video, but y'all need to know, I guess one of my friends told me, they said, well, you know, if you only show all your good stuff, then people don't know you're human. So we'll leave that old video up, and you guys can go look at me making wobbly big pots that I almost lose. And yeah, anyhow, it's good to have. All right, we're going to step back and look at the shape here. We'll come back over here. Bend down, look at the shape. That's pretty good. I'm going to push out just a little bit right in here because it kind of comes up, and then there's a minor dip right in here. So I'm going to push out there just to get kind of a more even shape right in there. Probably still need to do just a little bit more right there, but not much at all. It's better than it was. Getting pretty dry down there now, but it's still soft enough that you can just barely move it. I don't want to move it too quickly, and I want to make sure I'm steady when I'm doing it. right, now we'll show you guys. Yep. Hold on. I'm getting picky, but if I'm going to spend the time to make a piece this big, I'm going to be picky about it. All right, now we're going to bring you guys over closer, raise it up, and show you the inside so that where that seam is, you can see that there's not much at all to trim there, if anything, but yeah, the flame is, the torch is much better than the hairdryer. You can see right in here, that's where I joined the two together. You can see there's just a little bit of a bump right in there, not much of one at all, but I'll trim that just to get it evened out, because then you got less of a chance of having a wobble. Yeah, paddle and anvil. I've seen that before. I have not tried that yet. I have some friends that do that technique, and it's very effective. Eventually, I definitely will try other techniques, but for now, this is working really well, and so I'm going to keep going with this and see where it goes. All right, so I'm reversing the wheel so I can get in here and trim and be able to trim right-handed. Like I said, the main reason I do this is not necessarily for the joint itself as far as sticking together. It'd be for the look, because as the piece dries, if you have a little bit thicker spot and a little bit thinner spot, then you're going to have a tendency on the outside of the pot to see that bulge and see the difference in thickness. So where that difference in thickness is, you'll see a bulge or an indentation. So just trying to mitigate that by making this as seamless as possible where the seam is. Did you catch that? Make a seamless seam. Oh, my son would be face palming right now. All right, spin it back the other way. Flatten that up. And now we'll get the torch and dry it some more. I'm gonna get that outside of that smoothed up. There was some extra pieces there. All right, so there we've got, I think that's, what is that, 35 pounds. So we had 15 in the bottom, then we've had 2 10s. That's 35 pounds total so far. We'll get another 10-pound section on top of this. This one needs to be 18 inches wide. We'll do 18-inch section out of 10 pounds, add it on top of that, and then we're going to make this one so that it starts to kind of bring that shape in. I kind of got my peak of my belly right in here, and I'm going to start bringing that in, you know, maybe up to about here, where we'll finish off and make it so that, so probably another 10 pounds is going to do it on this one. So it'll probably be 45 pounds by the time I'm done. The only thing that may change that is after I put this next section on, I may go back and belly this out a little bit right in here. And but I'm assuming that another 10 pounds, at the most 15 more if I have to do another 5 on top of that. But at least one more section and maybe 2. And this time I can probably use my smaller bat because I want to make that shape like this, which means on the wheel I'm going to make it go like this so that I start bringing that in. Good thing about that is that I can not you have to use this really huge bat. To make this section. I can put the splash pan back on. Stay clean. All right. I'm going to try to get you guys really close for this one so you can see how I open that clay ball and go down in the center. There we go. So I know that's really close right now, but when I start opening up the clay ball, you'll really be able to see how I go about opening that clay ball up and pulling it out. Yeah. This bat has one of the things that holds the bat on is broken. These plastic bats. I don't know how it got broken, but all right, there's 5. The extra 5. I'm still going to flatten this out because this bat here, I believe this is like a 14-inch bat. So if I can make the bottom of this, which will be the top, be around 14 inches and then spread out to 18, that'll be a good, I think that'll be a good taper. So now I'm going to push down in the center here. And then after I pull this out a little bit more, I'm going to start using, like I said, I use my right hand over here pushing and this one kind of like pulling. And go up under all the way down to the bat, and it gets a little tricky because it's really that clay wants to jerk your hand around. That's why I said add a good amount of water in here while you're doing this. There's really no way to brace your hands to do it either. All right, now what we're going to want to do is pull this up and out. You guys are probably too close now, aren't you? There we go. Got about 17 there. I'd like to pull a little bit more clay. But not get it too wide. That was tricky. I think I've got, yeah, it's a little bit too wide. I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. This bat is wanting to come up off the wheel a little bit with me, and that's causing problems too. So if I can get this back in, it's getting even wider. That's not good. Well, I may have to start with a fresh 10 pounds because that's not going to go back in. I shouldn't have tried to pull that last time. The only other option is to try to push it back in like this, but I don't believe that's going to work. No, that's not going to work. There we go. Better to do that than to... Yeah, I thought about cutting it off too, but it's actually probably be easier for me to start with a new one, and I'm going to use a different bat as well. Because that one, as I was pulling it, I could hear it lifting up, and if I pulled too hard, it was just going to pull right off the wheel head. This one won't go anywhere. I got that slip under it. I still got about the same width of a bat. Yeah, 14 inches. And we'll get 10 pounds and make it on this. Yeah, there are times that I've been doing this long enough. There are times that I know I know when I'm beat, and it's easier just to start over than to struggle with the same piece for another 10 minutes. So On that one, I knew I was beat. I hear you, Karen. Hey, the good thing is to know your limitations, to know when it's over, and just start again. You'll save yourself a lot of energy and a lot of time. Hey, Astro, what's up, buddy? Well, after 25 years, it kind of actually is easy. But I still challenge that. Now, making one this size is not necessarily easy, but it's I love to challenge myself and continue to grow and try harder and harder things. New shapes, new colors. Alright, so it's much better than trying to add that on top of that large piece and messing up that. I'd much rather start over right here and make another section than to mess up that 35 pounds I've got on the wheel over there already. Alright, like last time, if we have to, I'll leave this one a little bit thicker instead of getting it too wide. Because that, I'd rather have it a little bit thicker and then either have to pull it some more on that pot or trim the seam a little more or anything than do that over again. I think we about got it this time though. That's not quite 17, but we'll clean it up here and then just bring out the top just slightly to get to the 18 inches that I need. All right, there's 17 1/4. Scared to go too far now. It's not getting out there. All right, there we go. All right, now we're going to torch this and check the bottom piece. All right, if any of you are have just gotten here, Let's see, I need to loosen this up. If any of you just gotten here, that's what we're working on. That's the bottom 3 sections. That's 35 pounds of clay so far. And then I've got this 10 pounds here that we're working on. I'm going to torch this and get it over and put it on top of that one. Yeah, I've thought about that, about making sure I don't get too much heat on either the bat or the splash pan. The one I made the other day, I made the exact same way, and I didn't have any issues so far. So I just try to make sure that, especially when I'm aiming inside or out, I'm aiming at the clay, not at the bat. If I'm out here on the outside, I kind of aim up so that the heat's not going directly on the splash pan. What's up, Tango? Hey, buddy. We're playing with fire. Alright, now we'll spin over this way and we'll start working on this one. Let me look at some comments real quick. Hey Lena, how you doing? Hope you're enjoying your mug. Yeah, using a torch on pottery is definitely it's not a new technique. I didn't come up with it at all, but people that make larger pieces definitely use a torch to help out with that. I'm going to torch the top of this one a little bit more. So basically what I'm doing is I'm heating up the clay so that it dries out a little bit more and it becomes more stiff so that it can hold the weight of the next piece that I put on top. So when I started today, you can go back and watch the full video. I started with 15 pounds of clay on the bottom of this. I stiffened that up, made another section that was 10 pounds, added it on top, did the same thing, made another 10 pounds and put it on top. So now right now I'm up to 35 pounds in this section that you're seeing here, and I've got another 10 pounds on the other wheel that I'm getting ready to add on top of this. see, let's double check the width. We got 17 7/8 there. And this one over here we have 18. So we're a little bit bigger here, but I think we'll be okay. I might try to just bring that up just a hair. Closer I can get that in a match, the better in the long run for sure. All right, there's 17 7/8. Woo! All right. Now let's take this off. All right. All right, let's see. Get you guys set up there, and you can see me flip over this piece on top. All right. That's a pretty good fit. Not quite as good as the last one. I got it a little bit off on one side or the other, but I can adjust that here before we spin them or throw them together. All right. So there's that. We'll move you guys a little closer here. So what I'm going to work on now is adjusting that, pushing out right here, just to kind of try to match up those two seams. And then when it gets over here, I'm going to push in. All right, there we go. We got the seams lined up all the way around. And now going to kind of get the top even and steady. And then after I turn the wheel on, just adding a little bit of water just to this rim here. And then I'm going to go back down and work on that seam right there that we just added. Not sure where that wobble came from, but I got a little bit of a wobble there I'm trying to work with. All the new people showed up and it started wobbling. Just picking. Let's see, get you guys back over here, maybe you can see. There we go. I'm also trying to work on getting this shaped exactly how I want it, or as close as I can. It's getting really close to what I want, so I just want to bring this top in a little bit more. That helped me even up the top there by cutting that off. Yeah, the seam where I put these two together is a little bit thicker than the other seams I had earlier. I think just I wasn't able to pull it quite the same because of the shape I was trying to make. So what I'm going to do here is trim that seam, and then we should be done with the basic shape. I'll have to end up making a lid for this one because I'm going to make I want it to be a lidded jar. Alright, so if I get you guys in here, you might be able to see, you might not. You can actually see there's the seam where I put those two together, and you can see how much thicker than it is changed from the last two that I had. Alright, I'm going to spin the wheel the other way. There we go, got most of that cleaned up. Now I gotta get all this out of the bottom. Yeah, that was easier than I thought. There we go. Alright, let's see. While I've got it spinning this direction, I'm gonna use this rib on the inside to smooth it out. Yeah, I can definitely reuse all that later. I reclaim all that, run it back through my machine. Trying to pull up the chat here. I know I've probably missed a lot. Yeah, short arms would be a challenge for this, for sure. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to back the camera up, and I'll back up with it, and we're going to look at the overall shape, see if there's anything we want to adjust. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure where that wobble that's in there came from, but either way, we'll work with it. Back you guys up. Yeah, it's still a pretty nice shape. One big tip I learned from my art teacher in high school when I started making pottery. He said, if you got a pot that's wobbling and you want to stop the wobble, he said, turn the wheel off. I think I didn't like him very much at that moment, but it's very true. So that's a very nice shape. I'm very happy with that. It's got that little bit of wobble in there, but it's not quite like the ones from the other day. Like I said, the one I made a couple days ago, not on camera, turned out really nice. I can show you guys that again so you can see. No more wobbling, that's right. Here's the one I made a couple days ago. The first one I made with the torch. And this one, as you can see, is considerably bigger than even that one that's on the wheel. This one was about 70 pounds. That one right now is like at 45, I guess. And then we'll make the lid, and then it'll end up being probably 55 pounds by the time I do a lid, something like that, 50 or 55. So yeah, that one there turned out exceptionally well. I guess maybe I just have to make them off camera for them to turn out really well. But this one here is definitely, I don't mind that shape at all. It turned out very nice. I think I was wanting one a little bit larger, but I'd love to have a little bit more roundness right in there, but I don't know that I want to mess with it. And here I am messing with it, right? Yeah, I don't think that's worth it. I could mess the whole thing up by doing that. We'll just leave it as is. Oops, sorry. Perfectionist, yes. Yeah, that's it. You know, it's one of those things. But that I'm driven by making sure I make nice work. So, oh, what was that last comment? It went away. Yeah, they definitely have a possibility of getting bigger when I finish my wood kiln. We'll see. I'm not sure. You know, I could put a 5-foot tall pot in there when I finish building that. So, you know, that is a possibility. Now I don't have anywhere to put this one. Guess I'll put it on this table over here. I'll let you guys watch the scary part again where I pick it up and move it. Oops. Wish there was an easy way to get back to the chat. How many wheels do I go through in a year? No, I've had these two for quite a while. They're well, actually no, the one stand-up wheel there, I haven't had it for that long, but it's a good quality wheel. I've used that brand for a long time. And then the Brents, this one here is a Brent. They last really well. They're very tough wheels. I'm basically just propping it up so I can get my fingers underneath the bat to then lift it up off the wheel. There we go. Now I can get my hands on each side and pick it up. Oh no! Just picking. That was mean. I know. That was totally mean. Of course, you didn't hear a crash, so you probably didn't believe it. Yeah, this one over here is a GT400, the Pacifica. And then that's the Brent CXC. I know, that was totally mean. It probably wasn't even believable, though. Anyway, I'm sorry, Lena. Oh, that was just not right. That was not fair. All right, I tell you what, I'm going to run inside real quick and check on the kids. If you were been here a while, I told you 2 of my older kids are inside. My wife had to go somewhere. So I'm going to go check on them and come right back. And I'm going to try to throw something a little bit smaller, but really wide and bulbous using the torch. I'm going to go do that, and I'll be right back. Give me like, a minute or 2 minutes at most. Did everybody leave? Nope. Okay. Thank you guys for letting people know where I am. The first two I didn't put handles on yet. One of them I probably won't. The other one I will. Yeah, I do need to make a lid for the one I just made, and I think the second one I did in the live stream, I will put. Hey, Evil Notion, what's up? I've got people here. Got people here that know me from two different walks of life. It's so funny. Some from pottery, and well, the ones most people know me for pottery, but other than that, in case you don't know, everybody calling me M-Craft. That's if I've played video games, and that's where some of these people met me. So mixing my worlds. That's right. Hey, it's all good. It's still me. All right, so what I'm thinking here is making a, I'm going to start out maybe with 10 pounds. That's right. There you go, Lena. You got it. All right, I've got 30 pounds over here, but I think I'm just going to make something, start it with 10 pounds on the bottom, and then maybe make that really wide, do like a 6-pound section on top and bring it back in, make something really bulbous. No, I don't mind at all, buddy. The more the merrier here on YouTube, or really any platform for content. All right, let's see here. This one's not going to get too huge, so I'm just going to make it on one of these bats instead of the really thick ones. All right, let me get you guys a little closer. Thanks, Astro. Well, I'll be honest, I do much better at making pottery than any video game I ever played. But I've got 25 years of practice at this, so I should, right? My water back over here. That's right. Yeah, I got you there, buddy. Well, you probably haven't played games as much as I've thrown pottery, so that's just years in general. Kind of comes down to that, what is it? I know that they say like 10,000 hours to master something, but I heard somebody else say really it's more like 30,000 hours. So I've definitely put those in. So Analyst. I don't know how you got here, buddy. Most people ask, what am I here for? You're just still wondering how you got here. All right, this one, like I said, I'm gonna make this one's gonna be different. I'm gonna make a 10-pound bottom. It is gonna. I'm not gonna make a hole in the bottom of this one, and but we're gonna make a really. I'm gonna try to make this one really wide, and then the next section I put on, just make a really bulbous shape, and bring that back in on top. But still using the torch to dry out the bottom section so I can put the top on it. Eventually, I hope to buy a a new one that doesn't make so much noise. This one's got all kinds of noises that makes. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy this one brand new, but it works great. But it just makes a lot of noise. So. Whoops. Oh. About messed it up there, reaching across back to the other side. Alright, so there's the base I'm going to start with. I haven't made one like this yet, so I don't know 100% how this is going to work out, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Just got to figure out where the shape's going to go from here as far as out and then back in. Alright, I saw some comments come through. I'm going to see if I can get to those. Oh, okay. No, I'm watching you because of the wheel noise. Yeah, that's true. If they hear that, they're like, oh, maybe that'll be my trademark. Oh, you must be watching Matthew. I can hear the wheel across the room. Whoa. Let's see. The thickness of the walls on the big ones are probably 1/2 inch. Well, I'm not sure a WD-40 would fix that or not. There's belts on this, and if I put WD-40 on the belts, they'd probably slip and it wouldn't turn anymore. From wet clay to finish, there's about 30% water weight in clay on average. Hey, Alonzo, you can definitely send me a message either on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, anywhere you find me, and we'll talk about it that way. I don't have a website set up yet. That's something I definitely need to work on. It's one of my things that I'd like to do this year is get a website set up where I can sell some things. Yeah, definitely. The weed burner, David, is great for this. Yeah, definitely gonna need to dry this some more. Probably pause the stream. All right, so now we have 15.5 that we need to make the next section. So we'll move over here to this wheel and make the next section. All right, that was 10 pounds in the base of that one. I'm probably going to use like 6 pounds in this section, and that'll give me be a good weight to add on top of that one. Maybe 7. I think I've got a 7-pound clay ball over here. I think I'll grab that. All right, so I need to make this one, like I said, 15.5, I believe is what I said. But I don't want the top of it to be too wide. I might end up doing a third section on this one. Probably will. So like I said, you guys, if you're new, I'm throwing this section upside down to flip over on top of the one that I just made. So this piece has no bottom in it. It's just straight down to the bat that I'm throwing it on. So it's just kind of like a ring of clay. Just got to get this like 15.5 in width. Almost there, 15.25. There it is. All right, now I'm going to torch this one a little bit, and then we'll flip it over on top of the other one. Slow this down a little bit. Yep. get to the comments here in a second. Kind of need to pay attention while I got the torch in my hand. I don't want to burn the place down. All right, I got that one. Let's see. 15.5 is what we need. Turn back around this way. Lower you guys back down. Coming to America? Oh yeah, that'd be quite a trip. Yeah, I'm trying not to melt the tray there. I think I'm good. All right, that one's good stiffness there, so I'm just gonna flip this over on top. Sorry, put my butt right in your face. Probably should have made this top section more out than it is as far as the shape. We got that sharp point there. Good thing it was stiffened up really nice. All right, definitely need to come in here like I did on the others and trim out that little, the thickness here has got a big difference there between the top and bottom piece, but it's okay, we can trim that out like we did the others. All right, while it's still spinning that way, I'm going to use this rib on the inside to kind of help smooth that over. All right, now we'll spin it back the other way. All right, so now what we have in shape, I really like so far, is that really low fat shape. Eventually I'd like to make 50 and 60 pounds pots this shape. Of course, that means it would start here and get, it'd probably be, over 2 to 3 foot wide by the time it was this, this tall on one larger. But I can start out making them this size and get the shape down, and then just start scaling it up. Yeah, I'll probably, I'm not sure yet if I'll make another jar or a vase, but I'm going to kind of come in from here up to about here. And if I'm going to make a jar, just come up maybe another 2 or 3 inches and have an opening there. So. All right, I'm going to torch this one a little bit, and then we'll make the next section, which will probably be the last section on this one. Going a little too fast. Yeah. I'm doing a YouTube live stream, so it's all good. Yeah, I made that one this morning. about burnt my cushion. I wasn't looking. Hey guys, I'll be back in just a second. Huh? I'm gonna put handles on it. You gonna write your name on it? Thanks. You got that going? Sorry about that. That's my brother. He's the one actually working on my storage shed out there that we haven't built, and so him and his son came up. So anyway, I'm gonna appreciate you guys hanging in there for a second, but I'm gonna go ahead and make that other section now. We're gonna measure this one and add it to it. All right. So this one we need to make a section that's 14 inches. Just gonna grab 5 pounds for this one. Let me look at chat real quick, see what you guys. Is he still here from New Zealand? Goodness, you need to get some sleep, boy. Free labor. No, hey, I'm a night owl too. I haven't been lately, but I like to stay up late. I know that. All right, I'm going to add 5 pounds on top of that. So I've got 10, 7, and 5. This will be 22 by the time I'm done with this. We'll see what kind of shape or where it goes to. Who knows, we might end up making a vase instead of a jar. So after this one, what I said, we'll be at 22 pounds. And we'll kind of gauge the shape after I get this one on there and see if we want to go taller, wider, you know, whatever. There's 13 and a half. We're getting close. There's a little over 14 there. I was afraid I did that. This one I should be able to bring back in just a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, I probably don't have to torch this one very much, but I'm going to a little bit. All right. Hey, buddy. I'm doing a live stream. You can come say hi if you want to.
How about 20 people who are watching, 25 people that are watching?
That was my oldest saying hi. He's my mini me. Looks just like me. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Alright, I'm gonna step back and look at this one. Oh, we got some glare on it. Trying to look at it without the glare on it, but I really like that shape a whole lot. I think I'm just gonna end up making that a jar right about there. We'll do some decorative lines on here, and we should be done. I'm super happy with that shape. £22, but that's a pretty big jar. So I'll definitely make some lids for both of those, but I believe for now that's going to do it for the live stream. But I really only planned to make the one, and then I got thinking about, oh, now that I got the torch, let me try making something a little bit, not quite as big, but still really fat, really bulbous with the torch, kind of help with the shape. So anyway, appreciate you guys being here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Let me check the comments real quick. Thanks, Astro. Yeah, the moon jar. There you go. Memory foam gets me. Yeah, I about burnt my foam earlier. That was a little dangerous. Anyway, yeah, you're welcome. Thank you guys for being here. I'm really I'm enjoying doing the live streams. I'm gonna get back to making some videos. So if you guys are here and you normally watch my videos, definitely I just got really busy over the last couple weeks and didn't have time to do all the production behind making videos. So but thank you for being here. Go get some sleep, okay? If you're in New Zealand, that is. Here it's only, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, you're very welcome, Lisa. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, and I'll definitely try to get back to you. And hopefully within the next few days or week or so, I'll get back to actually making a couple videos. I've got one that Josiah and I, my oldest son, we've worked on filming one together. He actually threw a couple pots, so we got to finish that one up, and then hopefully I'll be back to making some more videos and doing some live streams as well, because I'm enjoying this, and I hope you guys are as well. So you guys have a good rest of your day, Saturday or Sunday, whichever it is, depending on where you live, and you guys have a great one, and